impact on pop culture. But I think he, like Patti Smith and Robert Mapplethorpe, the photographer, when they were lovers, used to lie in bed reading Rimbaud and Genet. They're songs that are about him that have been written by Bob Dylan, by Patti Smith, The Doors.
Paul! Paul!
I think Rimbaud's so popular is because he seems to be speaking to each person's condition. And I think it's partly because Rimbaud's the poet who invented obscurity. Before Rimbaud, poets are not difficult to understand. I mean, sometimes you have to tease out the meaning a bit, maybe in a Shakespeare sonnet, but basically it's all there, and it's there to be understood. Whereas in Rimbaud's case, you have no idea what's going on in the poems. I think what I liked about Rimbaud when I was an adolescent was his legend. I wanted to be like him. I mean, the idea that he was sort of cute-looking, that he ran away from home in a very severe, contained, petty bourgeois world, and went off to Paris, in his case, New York in mine, and lived this glamorous life and was able to have an older man who leave his wife for him and be almost enslaved by his beauty. I thought all that sounded really good, and I wanted that to happen to me. Rimbaud was the house guest from hell. I mean, he when he first arrived in Paris, Verlaine would put him up with various friends, and he would stay up in the attic room that French houses have above the main apartments.
Just for a few days. It's fine.
He would, piss out the window, or set all the furniture on fire, or throw it all into the courtyard, or sell it, or piss on the crucifix that belonged to the family, or whatever, or take a literary review which contained poems by the host and use that as toilet paper.
And one of their primary functions was to rid the world of pedants, fools, and writers of no talent by pissing on them from a great height.
He and Verlaine are the most famous gay couple of the 19th century, before Oscar Wilde and Lord Alfred Douglas. So, I mean, they were notorious throughout the French-speaking world, and then later the world. And they certainly were passionate lovers, had a very violent, very alcoholic affair that was dragged out across the world from Paris to London to Brussels, where it culminated in Verlaine shooting Rimbaud through the wrist and going to prison for 2 years for it.
That was before I thought of pawning your clothes.
Well, I think that it was one of the great creative partnerships, in a way, that they each learned a lot from the other one. Rimbaud is a very strange, unique talent, and he was always pushing Verlaine to be more experimental, to try different things, even to write in other meters. Rimbaud had a lot of self-hatred for his alcoholic and disorderly years, which included homosexuality. And when he was an older man, I mean, he only lived to be 38, and he quit writing poetry forever when he was 20, so for the last 18 years of his life, he was mainly living in North Africa, where he was a gun runner, and he was trying to be a respectable businessman. And his fondest dream was to make enough money, go back to France, get married, have a son, and have that son be, wonder of wonders, an engineer. That was his ideal of somebody really important. And he totally rejected his past as a poet. I certainly felt that his genius was incontestable. I mean, I admire him as a writer more than ever, but I deplore him a bit as a man.